Tonight, confronting discovery. Police left puzzled as a woman is found tied up and semi-conscious in her own home.
A couple survives a nasty crash after police call off a high-speed pursuit on the New South Wales mid-north coast.
And Bill Shorten shows off his moves in Kiribati.
This is NBN News with Paul Lobb and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. Semi-conscious, her hands and feet tied together. The discovery of a woman at a home in Sydney has become a baffling mystery for police. Tonight, as she recovers from a number of injuries in hospital, detectives are trying to piece together what led to the shocking and bizarre attack.
One of the government's key advisors is warning Australians they'll just have to accept higher taxes under changes to the GST. But Labor says a 15% levy on fresh food would see households paying an extra $9 billion a year.
Commercial fishermen affected by contamination from the Williamtown RAF base have welcomed news of compensation. It comes 2 months after fishing was banned at Fullerton Cove and Tilligree Creek. Think I'd struggle with that. Later in the news, more drama for travellers trying to get to Bali.
But next, could a bomb be behind the Russian plane disaster? As the world waits to learn exactly what caused a Russian plane to crash in Egypt, killing all on board, a team of international investigators is a step closer to delivering an answer. They've started analysing the flight recorders from the doomed flight, with reports of unusual sounds coming from the cockpit before the plane came down.
She may have woken up as Australia's most celebrated woman, but it was straight back to work today for Michelle Payne. The Melbourne Cup winning jockey, now a national inspiration, saddling up again just a day after her historic victory. Ahead in the news, the delicate operation to free a whale calf off the New South Wales Central Coast.
To finance and the share market closed slightly higher, buoyed by the big miners. BHP Billiton, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals all finished the day in positive territory. Gold and oil also closed higher. Results were mixed among the big banks. ANZ closed 20 cents lower, while the Commonwealth Bank lifted a cent. Media companies also gained ground. Nine Entertainment rose 5 cents. And the Aussie dollar is stronger against the major currencies. It's now buying 72 US cents and 46 British pence. Now to Gavin Morris with a quick look at our weather. And Gav, it's been a wet start to November for New South Wales.
Yes, it certainly has been a little gloomy across the state. Plenty of rain, plenty of clouds, storms, and there's still more to come. This system, well, it's not giving up just yet. Let's take a look at the next couple of days. The low now has to pass, and in its core, big storms, and likely to see some of that storm action spread across the region. But the good news is it'll take everything with it from the inland areas, making for a predominantly fine weekend. But along the coast, a southerly will burst through, and we'll see more showers plague the eastern slopes and along the coast. I'll take a look at all of your local details in about 20.
Thank you, Gav. Also later in our news, the French Spider-Man strikes again.
And in sport with Paddy Kilmurray, rugby league star Paul Gallen maintains his dominance in the boxing ring. A quick-thinking pilot has avoided disaster after his engine failed mid-flight using an emergency parachute to break the aircraft's fall. Drivers videoed as the light plane floated down onto a major road in the US state of Arkansas. It hit a truck on its way down, but miraculously nobody suffered injuries.
Paddy Kilmurray is here now with the latest sport news.
And Paddy, our cricketers are ready to bounce back after the Ashes.
There's been a few changes, thanks Paul. A new era in Australian cricket begins tomorrow when Australia faces New Zealand in the first test at the Gabba in Brisbane. Retirements have brought new challenges, especially for captain Steve Smith. South Sydney star Dylan Walker has taken a step toward leaving Redfern after being forced to front the club's board over his prescription drug overdose. Manly are keen to sign the centre, a move which would free up salary cap space for the Rabbitohs to sign Sam Burgess. Paul Gallen has turned up for pre-season with a win in a boxing bout against Warriors forward Bodine Thompson. The Kiwi certainly gave it to Gallen, some powerful shots in the third round, opening up a cut above the Blues skipper's eye. But Gallen had too much stamina, winning a unanimous points decision to maintain his 6-fight unbeaten record. Code hopper Israel Folau has labelled the Rugby World Cup as the highlight of his sporting career. The Wallabies flew home to Sydney today and were greeted with a hero's welcome. Back with more sports news after the break. Coach Graham Arnold has given the ladder leading Sydney FC a reality check ahead of Friday's A-League clash with Brisbane Roar.
Look, it's too early in the season to even think about or look at the table. You know, for me it's about trying to improve every week.
The Sky Blues are undefeated in 4 games so far this season. Still on the A-League, and Western Sydney Wanderers striker Dario Vidosic says he's wary of the Jets' defensive style. Vidosic is beginning to find form after breaking through for his first goal of the season in the Wanderers' win over Perth. Rugby really kicking on after the World Cup.
For sure. Thanks, you.
Paddy.
Stay with us. We'll have the weather next with Gav.
Gavin Morris joins us now with the weather, and Gav, it's taken on a bit of a grey hue.
Yes, it certainly has. Lots of light rain and drizzle periods across the region throughout today, and there's more to come tomorrow, and the likelihood now of storms to flare up inland. First of all, Linda Hinton woke up among the clouds in the Watagans. Low-lying morning cloud is going to be a feature after this system moves on through due to all of the moisture on the ground and in the atmosphere. The humidity has been felt. Well, we've racked up some big numbers. 20% of New South Wales rain gauges have accumulated 50% of the average monthly rainfall so far, and there's more to come. Up around Kempsey, big numbers, 50 to 60 millimetres, and falling nicely throughout the valley. More numbers there, racking up the overall accumulation for the week. Big numbers here. Some locations throughout Eyre Peninsula have already racked up their average rainfall for the month of November. And this really says it all here. This is the footprint of the rain up until 9 o'clock. So it's coming through in waves. So you can see on the coast, inland throughout the northwest, and it goes all the way back to the Red Centre and up to the Kimberley. And going to the satellite kind of reveals it. You can see all these little waves, and there's gaps in between, and that's what we had throughout today. It moved in for a while, and then it backed off. And it's going to be the same throughout tomorrow, periods of drizzle and rain. But all of this is the core of the low, and this is storms, extreme storms. There was another tornado in South Australia throughout today. So all of that has got to move across the western parts of the state, and it's going to be at its worst throughout the Riverina, southern parts of New South Wales, into Victoria. But you can see these elongated troughs here. They're like antennas sticking out to the north of the whole system, and that area of instability will move across the mountains and therefore the upper Hunter towards the end of the day. And it's still going to be very humid because it's a northerly influence, so it's going to be warm. It's very much a tropical moisture feed here that is drawing down from the north right across the entire region. Fine in the west, wet right throughout the east up to Brisbane, but the heat is back on throughout the centre. On the radar, the drizzle there backing off as we move into this evening. Temperatures were held down into the low 20s across the board throughout today, but it felt warmer at times, especially if you're doing a little bit of work out in that drizzle because of the humidity. It is so high. The pressure down slightly, and the easterly winds kicked in hard this afternoon. Some gusty, strong northerlies, nor'easters. You can see plenty of warmth and humidity there again throughout tomorrow. tomorrow. Drizzle patches, light rain periods and inland storms are likely, particularly throughout the afternoon. So there's that cluster that is likely to move on through and may push towards the valley floor and the coast towards the evening period. So looking at the temperatures, it is going to be warmer. It's going to be very humid again, a mixture of cloud. We may have some breaks as those waves move through, and then the likelihood of storm development inland with the mercury up there, cracking the mid-20s widespread. We've got a little bit of seas action here. That is because of those northerly winds are gusty, so a strong wind warning has been issued for that yet again. Swell is still lacklustre, just at a metre. The low tide is about 10:30 tomorrow morning, so the high very early dropping and then moving back up again through the lunchtime hours. Sun to rise 5:51 down at 7:23, and looking ahead, that whole system moving through, backing off, beginning to clear Friday. Burst of southerly winds coming through on Saturday and then easing off to a few showers into the early part of next week. Getting stormy for the valley throughout tomorrow. Similar forecasts for the central coast like Newcastle. Out in the swell, well, a little bit of swell beginning to push on through, a metre, 3 feet, and should be there again throughout tomorrow. We had a mixture of winds, even went westerly for a little period, but then it kicked in throughout the afternoon. So nor'easters throughout tomorrow. Good luck.
Thanks, Gav.
Thank you. In a moment, the death-defying stunt you need to see to believe.
He may be turning 75 in January, but age certainly isn't slowing down Neil Diamond. The music legend playing the first of 2 shows at a packed Brisbane Entertainment Centre last night.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for somebody else, but not for me.
He'll play another show tomorrow night before moving south to the Hunter Valley and Sydney.
Finally tonight, he might not have a Spider-Man suit, but French climber Alain Robert has put the superhero to shame with his latest heart-stopping stunt. He scaled a 36-floor skyscraper in Paris using just his bare hands and a little talcum powder, and it took less than 30 minutes to complete.
It's a bit risky.
Sure is.
But he loves it.
That is the latest news.
For more local news and sport, go to nbntv.com.au.
From all of us here, have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.